Hey, what's up guys? Darkbreaker here. In today's video, we are gonna read and check out the wildrift patch notes 5.1C. So, if you guys are curious about what is changing for tomorrow's new patch, as you guys can see, Maokai obviously is gonna get released very soon, maybe even tomorrow, I am not sure. And also we will see some lovely changes, so we will run through all the changes and I will give you guys my input and my opinion about the changes and how I think it's gonna affect the meta. So let's get started. Wildrift patch notes 5.1C. Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Maokai, sapling aimed straight at you. Hope you weren't sitting in a bush or anything. Let's find somewhere comfy to go over the rest of this patch note. We have some fun new game modes to try out, a brand new wild pass to grind, and our regularly scheduled balance changes. Welcome to patch 5.1C. So for the new champions, Maokai the Twisted Trend. New wallpaper, by the way, new artwork. He's actually getting released next week. Not this week, next week. Now for new features, Arena Runo's Might. We got a new NPC and some new augments. Come try it out. Will be available tomorrow. Urf X League of Draven. You are Draven and they are Draven. Everyone is Draven. Urf X League of Draven will be available next week. Maokai's Trivia is coming out next week. Now showing rotating modes. Try out our lineup of different game modes, such as PvP, Aram, Ranked, and special game modes, such as Urf and One for All, and earn goodies. They're now showing rotating modes. Event begins June 17 at midnight. Wild Pass Sprint. Log in and complete Wild Pass mission to earn prizes. The Wild Pass Sprint event begins June 21st. Now let's get started for the champion changes. So for Zed is not doing so hot compared to other assassins, especially in the early game. We're tweaking some of his numbers to ensure he's keeping up. Damage of the mark is getting increased by 5% in the early game, 2.5, and then later on it stays the same. So it's just a buff for the early game mainly. I mean, his all in when he's level, when he gets the ultimate, is definitely way better. So not too shabby. For Wukong hasn't been able to clear jungle camps as fast as other junglers, resulting in him lagging behind. These changes will make sure he's able to keep up the pace, so he can better help out his lanes as well. Golden Stuff base damage is getting increased by 10 at every rank, and AD ratio stays the same. For Warrior Trickster, the cooldown is getting decreased by 3 seconds in the early game, 1.5 seconds in the late game. I mean, the rework on Wukong is really bad. If they just remove the rework and then add this, no, that's good. Cannon, you know when you shuffle your feet and then touch a door handle? That little static shock is what playing Cannon has been feeling like lately. Not ideal. We're buffing his base stats as well as his damage and cooldown so he can really bring the Tempest. Base stats. Base attack damage is getting increased by 4 and base armor is getting increased by 3. Electrical Surge, base damage is getting increased at by 10 for every rank, otherwise it stays the same. Lightning Rush cooldown is getting decreased by 1.5 seconds in the early game, stays the same in the late game. I think there's definitely a pretty good buff for Cannon in the Baron lane, because you get more armor for the matchups, and also your laning phase, your auto attacks are gonna hurt way more, so your harassment with your auto attacks is gonna be not bad. Potentially, you could also run AD Cannon if you really guys want to, but I think it's mainly focused on his early game, making his laning phase even stronger. Now for Rakan. As an offensive support, Rakan is more fragile than a baby bird with prettier feathers. How can we expect him to fly into the enemies when he's crumbling so easily? We're tweaking his numbers so he can finally soar. Base HP is getting buffed by 30, base armor is getting buffed by 3. Shield value is getting buffed by 15 in the early game, stays the same in the late game, but I think this is gonna make Rakan definitely much stronger than before and giving him more survivability and also more shielding in the early game. It's gonna make his early game trades way better, and overall it's gonna be a bit more tanky. I mean, it's definitely nice to have buff, I would say. I don't think Rakan was doing that bad, but you just had to master him, knowing how to play him perfectly. So this is gonna make it very easy for Rakan players to carry even harder now, and even dominate in the early game more. Now Diana. Diana has been feeling a little underwhelming lately. I guess the recent Eclipse is pretty distracting. We're gonna make sure her spells still pack a punch though. Crescent Strike. First ability, cooldown getting decreased by 1 second at every rank. Mana is getting decreased as well. Mana cost, should I say. For the second ability, the base damage stays the same. The ability power ratio is getting buffed. The shield value is getting increased by 10 at every rank. Increase in shield value after third sword detonation is getting increased by 10. AP ratio stays the same. I don't think Diana necessarily needed a buff. I think she was very strong, not broken or something, or not too OP. But definitely, I don't think she needed a buff, but nice to have. It's definitely going to make her stronger, but not by much. Vi base armor is getting increased by 6. That's massive early game buff, honestly. 6 more armor in comparison to 34. That's pretty big. That's actually massive if you think about it. Not bad. Blast Shield. Cooldown is getting decreased by 2. So you can spam it even more. This is actually very good because Blast Shield not only gives you a shield, but when you have full stacks, it also gives you movement speed. So you can more often get the movement speed buff during team fights. This is actually very good. And this is going to make Vi even more tanky. And if you guys, I'm not sure if my video is coming out, but I've played Vi and I got a pentakill on here using Aftershock, making me super tanky while still dealing a lot of damage. And this is definitely going to benefit Vi even more. Obviously, you can just build very bruiser build or full damage build as well, and it still works. Shyvana is a champion that needs time and farm to ramp up to reach her final form. However, the overall speed of the game recently has been outpacing her. We're buffing her numbers to make sure she's able to keep up. You get 15 stacks now instead of 12 for killing enemy champions, Rift Herald or Baron Nashor. And on top of that, the damage on the second ability is getting increased for every second by 5 at every rank. It's definitely going to make it easier for Shyvana to reach the 400 stacks. But to be fair, I think Shyvana is still very good in solo queue. And right now I have a 13 win streak on Shyvana. 13 win streak. So I don't think it's nice to have that she gets the buff. It's definitely going to make her stronger and easier to play. But I don't think she needed the buff necessary. I think she was fine. It's not like she was too weak or too strong. She was in a good position. This is going to make her even stronger, but I don't think it's going to make her too strong. Gragas has not been performing up to par, so we're making him a little bit tankier to be suitable for any situation the Rift might throw at him. Health regen from 7% max HP to 8.5% max HP. Drunken Rage damage reduction is getting increased by 3 in the early game. Damage is getting increased by 30 in the early game, making Gragas support and tank Gragas top lane way better. This is definitely a good buff to hybrid Gragas or blue Gragas. Blue Gragas top lane or tank Gragas support, definitely way better now. Now for Ezreal. Ezreal's signature is his ability to reposition himself as he sees fit. We're buffing him slightly so he can have better maneuverability no matter what situation he finds himself in. Base armor is getting increased by 4. Mystic Shot is getting increased from 35 to 50. Actually, every rank plus 15. Base damage is getting increased by 15 at every rank. Damn, that's a lot. Like 35 to 50 is actually a lot. Arcane Shift cooldown is getting decreased in the early game by 3 seconds, late game only by 1 second. This is definitely gonna make Ezreal way stronger. His early game is gonna become better. Having the base damage buff is gonna make his early game better. And on top of that, Ezreal is one of the best late game scaling champions as well. So these buffs for the early game are gonna make him or allow him to get into the late game easier. So pretty good. Yone is getting nerfed. Base armor is getting nerfed by 3. First ability, damage. Oh, never mind, they're adjusting him. They're nerfing the base armor, but they're buffing the base attack damage in the early game, nerfing it in the late game, and they nerf the damage onto monsters again. They don't like Yone jungle, and Yone jungle is actually dominating among, I think, in the top 5 leaderboard in the Europe server. 2 players are Yone jungle one-trick ponies. Viego crit items. These changes make sure his bursts don't become ridiculous. Blade of the Rune King. Damage of the second hit. 30% attack damage to 20% attack damage. Damage from active. Oh, the multiplicator for crit rate is getting lowered from 100% to 75%. I guess they realized crit Viego was popping. Heartbreaker. Oh. Yeah, they nerfed the late game. Nerf the late game damage by 30%. Bonus damage from 7.5% bonus attack damage to 6% bonus attack damage. I mean, if you guys go Bruiser, you will not get that much AD. I mean, it's mainly focused on people that are just running full AD, doing way too much damage because of the bonus attack damage ratio here, and also nerfing the crit build because you are one-tapping people. Lilia, dude. Lilia has been perma-banned. I was not even able to play Lilia because she was always banned every single game. Like, absolutely dominating. Base damage and ability ratios getting nerfed. True damage, true damage, base damage, and true damage ability power ratio also getting nerfed. Massive nerf. And now for what's out Eep? Ability power ratio is getting nerfed. Center damage. The third ability power ratio is getting nerfed, making a late game weaker. First ability and second ability getting nerfed. First ability base damage and ratio, and second ability AEP ratio. I think it's a pretty big nerf. Like, not massive nerf, but still pretty big nerf on Lilia. I mean, she was kind of overtuned right now. Hecarim. Wait. Growth HP is getting decreased by 8. So they're nerfing the late game HP of Hecarim, first of all. Rampage. A rampage mechanism. First click to charge, then click to cast in advance is getting removed. New. Charging Hecarim's halberd for 0.75 seconds, increasing the area he deals damage to. Automatically cast when fully charged. When fully charged, dealing physical damage. Interesting. Wait, was Rampage the first ability? Movement speed is getting decreased. First click to charge, then click to cast in advance. I mean, it's about the canceling, right? Because you could either cancel or you just let it run out. Or you just click again to cast it again. New Hecarim Solver. Automatically cast when fully charged. Oh, you don't have to. Oh, you don't have to click again for it to you're like charging and then it comes out, but now it automatically casts. I see. I mean, they are pretty much nerfing Hecarim. Interesting. Misfortune. Post rework, Misfortune has not been as impactful as we had hoped. We're increasing her damage so she can remain a good choice as a strong ADC. For double up, first ability base damage, pretty big buff, and then here as well, the attack damage ratio, pretty big buff for the early game for Misfortune, plus 20. That's 50% increase in the early game. Cooldown reduction after activating full stack of Love Tap increased to 2 seconds. Damage per 0.5 is also getting increased. Cooldown is getting lowered. And mana costs are getting lowered as well. I mean, they're buffing Misfortune's early game by a lot. Babe, wake up, it's time for the Jax Rework. They call it rework. Oh. Jax Rework will be live June 20th. Oh, no longer has a ability power ratio. And power was second ability, right? Oh, they want Jax jungle to become viable. 125% damage of the second ability. Damage. Scaling, 3% targets max HP, plus ability power. But it doesn't scale with bonus attack damage, huh? But it scales with the enemy maximum HP. So the more HP the opponent have, the more damage you will do, and it's magic damage. Interesting. But it scales with ability power instead of attack damage. AP Jax? AP Jax, but to be fair, first ability, no ability power ratio. Remove Grandmaster's Might, adjustment, passive, deals an additional 60, 110, 160 plus 70% ability power magic damage with every third consecutive attack he launches within 3 seconds. Scales with ability power as well, okay. Neo active, swing his stave, dealing damage plus ability power ratio, magic damage to nearby enemies. When hitting only one enemy champion, gains 30, 50, 70 magic resistance, scaling with your attack damage, equal to 60% of that armor. If he hits more than one champion, he gains bonus armor and magic resistance equal to 60% of that armor for 8 seconds per additional champion hit. During this time, his size increases by 10% and he deals additional magic damage with every second attack. Damage to monsters gets increased by 10%. I mean, the moment you unlock this, so basically your third auto attacks are going to do additional damage as well. Like every time you will do this amount of additional damage, and it scales plus 10% on monsters. So if you had one enemy champion, you get armor. If you had multiple enemy champions, you get even more armor, and or should I say resistance. Interesting fact that the damage scales with AP. Here as well. And here as well now. We don't have Gunblade though, but what other hybrid items do we have that you could run that give attack speed and ability power? I mean, you could run Nash's Tooth, I guess. Nash's Tooth might not be bad. I'm not sure why they changed this to attack damage though. If they kept this ability power, then the first ability, second ability, third ability, and ultimate would scale with ability power. I'm pretty sure second ability scales with ability power as well. You could run Nash's Tooth in the jungle or not. Nash's Tooth first item in the jungle. Still run Trinity like a hybrid build. Kind of like a mixed build. Could be like Nash's Tooth, Trinity, and then Bruiser. Bam. And Nash's Tooth also gives you additional magic damage per auto attack. So it would not be a bad synergy, actually. Nash's Tooth, Bruiser, Jax. Gameplay changes. Road of Age. They are buffing the amount of stats you're getting and the duration, or like every time. So it stacks you get one stack every 40 seconds instead of 45 seconds, and also you get more stats per stack. And total you will have more HP, and max of 10 stacks providing 250. You get more HP now. Ability power stays the same though, never mind. But it stacks up quicker. For the rune changes, Overgrowth gains bonus 3% max health up to 30 stacks. Oh, they nerfed Overgrowth. For the skins, we have Karma, Storm Dragon Lee Sin, Duality Dragon Volleybell, Obsidian Dragon Set, Steel Dragon Thresh, Sapphire Dragon Master Yi, Mythic Chroma, Maokai, Infernal Shen. Infernal Shen looks dope though. But yeah, that's good for the patch notes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys can tell me down below in the comments what you like about the patch notes and what you don't like. What do I like the most? I think Gragas is very interesting. Tank Gragas. Shyvana, nice to have. Vi, this seems pretty good. Diana is okay. Rakan, Anna. I mean, Rakan mains will be happy. Cannon seems okay. Wukong doesn't matter. Zed doesn't matter that much as well. Ezreal seems very strong now. Yone nerf, I like that. Viego nerf, justified. Lilia nerf, also justified. Hecarim, interesting changes. Hecarim has very high win rates, so that's why they're nerfing him. Misfortune nerf, I can see it. Jax Rework, super interesting. Need to try it out. But it seems like hybrid or AP might be viable instead of just the standard Bruiser build. But yeah, that's good. I see you guys. Bye bye.